We've got a lot to cover, and I'm excited about it. So great to see some familiar folks here. Hello, Miss Davis Walker. I see Carmen Lakes in the house. Stacy's here. Tara Casey, good to have you here. And again, I encourage you to just jump in. Let's talk together and support each other. You know, as a mom myself, I learn every time I present this material, and I learn from people like you. So let's help each other through it. I wear my culture shirt today because, you know, the family culture is everything. And as leaders in our homes, we set the tone. We truly set the tone for the culture in our home. So hope you like the shirt. I thought it'd be fun for today, our last day together. And again, welcome. So I'm going to share my screen with you. I think you're going to really love what we're about to see. I think you have to give me permission, Miss Simmons. All right. Here we go. Okay, friends. So we're going to take a look at some content that maybe you haven't seen before. And if you're familiar with the habits, it might look a little familiar, but what we've done is we put it into this format that's really family friendly. Okay. And remember, the 7 habits are a toolbox, and it's a toolbox for effectiveness. And we all define effectiveness and success in our own way. And we define that in our families in our own ways. So just, if you would, Miss Simmons, give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. I want to make sure we're good. Thank you very much. Let's take a look at this quote, everybody. Ooh, we are going to start with convicting ourselves, because sometimes our families can suffer because we say yes too much, not just to our kids, but to outside influence that sometimes takes us away from our family. You know, if I were to ask you your biggest priorities, your most important priorities, most of you would say your family, because you're here today. So I know that it is. And yet, oftentimes when I ask that, I don't see that people have their families or family events or one on one time with family members on their calendar. Okay, so let me say that again. Your family might be your biggest priority, and yet your calendar doesn't even have your family on it. Oh, I don't know. Maybe because we just know our family comes first, we don't need to write it down. But research says that as far as executing on a goal, we are 64% more likely to execute on a goal if we write it down. So let me give you an example. My son, Alex, back in the day, he's 30 now, he loved to go to McDonald's and jump in the balls. Well, they don't have those balls anymore, but that was his thing. So I would make dates with him verbally. Alex, after school tomorrow, I'm going to take you to jump in the balls. And sometimes I would follow through, and sometimes I wouldn't. As a school principal and a teacher, things came up. Well, what if I had written that down on my calendar, and on my way out of the school building, when someone grabbed me because they had some urgency, what if I was able to say this? You know what? I have a date with my son, Alex. Taking him to the balls. We're going to go let him jump for a while because that's my highest priority. I don't know. There's just something about writing it down that makes a difference. What are your thoughts, parents? Anybody want to share their thoughts on that?
While they're thinking, I'll share. I think that's very true. We have to be very purposeful when we're planning for our family, just as we are, our careers and all the other parts of it. So I do think that that's very true and insightful.
Yeah, it's true, Miss Simmons. And even if we were to go further and say, list your top 3 priorities, sometimes it could be faith, or working with a loved one, or taking care of an aging parent. And yet, very rarely do we see it on our calendars. And it doesn't mean it's not important, but that calendar piece can ensure that our highest priorities are intentional. So I hope that helped you as a strategy for
Betsy,
prioritizing. Oh, yes, Ms. Walker.
I just started using my calendar on my phone to make my appointments and doctor's appointments this summer. And my daughter went to the doctor today, and she says, well, I would like for her to start walking more. So she says, maybe both of you can do that together. So that's maybe 20 minutes. That's all I want you to put on your calendar every day, 20 minutes to both of you just go and walk.
And that is what you need to write down, Ms. Davis Walker, because again, not that you wouldn't do it, but you're more likely to follow through if that is written down. And now you have an accountability buddy too. You have someone to help you stay accountable, right? because you're not only impacting your calendar, but your partners, right? That person who's going to walk with you. So that's really critical. I love that example. Thank you. Let's keep going. Let's keep talking about strategies for more effective parenting, right? And our wellness is one of those strategies. But look at what happens sometimes, friends. Sometimes we let time and other people control our calendar. Now, again, those things happen, right? We're humans, we live in the real world. And yet sometimes we get stuck in this mode of other people's problems or urgencies when we need to say no and yes to what's most important. So I think, just as a mom myself, if we could all learn to say no a little bit more to those things that won't lead us to our highest priorities, we'd all be better off. So when I talk to teachers, and they're the nicest people, teachers are nurturers and they're givers. They're the worst. I just want you to know, your kids' teachers are the worst at saying no. They are constantly giving and pouring in, just like you do to the kids. And sometimes, literally, this is what I know from research, teachers' health is almost the worst. It's almost the worst group. I don't even know how to say it. You know what I'm trying to say. Their health is the worst as far as profession. Guess what the number one group is for the worst health? Nurses. Nurses and teachers. What? Yeah, because they give, pour out, and don't pour in. So let me just preach at you, parents. Pour in, take care of you, and you know what? Say no without guilt to those things which won't lend themselves to your highest priorities. All right, I'm done. Somebody talk to me. What are you thinking? Not that this is easy. Any thoughts?
So, Miss Weirda, what would you say? And I'm sitting here thinking it is nice to say no sometimes, and I'm grateful to have a boss that understands that I have 3 children and that life happens sometimes. But what would you say to a parent that may not have that same support and flexibility with more so their jobs and learning how to maybe say no sometimes?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, of course, I'm thinking first around ensuring that when you take on a new job, you
Mhm.
communicate that effectively, right?
Right.
And that boss knows that there will be times that you will make up, right?
Right.
So you'll make up that time. You won't take
Right.
away time from the work.
Right.
The other part of it is if you're in a situation where you are stuck and you really can't leave early, or those types of things, you don't have flexibility, then that's where you need to train your kids and help your family understand that position and your parameters. And, who are their go-tos? If they're maybe taking care of their siblings after school, of course, you'll prepare them with phone numbers and go-tos and that kind of thing if you're not available. And I think it's really, Miss Simmons, about preparation, whether it's on the front end with your boss or on the other end with your family.
True.
It's about preparation. The worst part is when you're not prepared.
Right.
And then you get caught in that emergency, like, oh no, I have to stay at work. Who's going to pick up my kids? There's no food, that kind of thing. And that's unhealthy, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's keep chatting. All right. And when we talk about the 7 habits to our schools and our kids, we talk about this notion of big rocks. And we just simply use that terminology when we talk about our priorities. So just for a minute, I'm going to set this video up for you. I want you to just think, if you would, and feel free to put it in the chat. What are your big rocks? If you're willing and courageous enough to share, of course, you're going to put your families, or I don't think you'd be in this Zoom room right now. But what are your big rocks? And after we think about it, let's think about the other things that are taking us away. So not just what's most important, but those little pebbles that get in our way. So this is just a fun video. I think you're really going to like it. If you would, Miss Simmons, when I start it, just make sure that we have the audio, okay?
Hey, what do we got here?
This is part 2 of First Things First,
Alright.
a grand experiment.
Hey, Jelly Bean!
This is your life. This bowl is your life. This is 1 week of your life, and your job is to get all the important things of your life to fit in with all of the day-to-day activities. Go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this is everything I do in a week, right?
Yeah,
All
right
the stuff.
there.
Okay. Family, right? That's important.
Super
Put that in
important. And you can't go over the edge.
there. Okay. So I got to make it fit without going over?
Right there.
Okay. Well, big career opportunity. I
Oh,
would.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. You've worked very hard at that. Coaching, right? I need
Yeah.
coaching. That's a small one.
I respect that about you.
Yeah, for sure. Put that in there.
Okay.
All right. Well, I love basketball.
Okay.
I like to play basketball.
Yeah.
That's not in there. And this is me time.
Yeah.
I need me time.
Well, you gotta rest, and you like watching rap battles, and okay.
What is
So whatever doesn't fit underneath the brim, you gotta take out. Like
So-
you just can't have it.
so basketball and me time is not in there?
Yeah. So that's like what, half of your life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need these in there.
I know. Well then you're gonna need to do something differently.
How do you mean?
You're just gonna need to rearrange it. You're gonna have to shift your priorities, right?
Hey, Clark.
Thank you. So let's take the big things out.
Okay.
Okay. Remember, what's this episode called again?
First things first.
Right. Okay. So, what are you going to do differently?
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna put the big things in first.
Yeah.
Okay. Family in there.
Yep.
Pick up ball. That's what I was. Me time. That's what I was missing the
Yep.
first time. Put these in there. There we go. Okay. There you
And
go.
then now here's all the little things.
Yep.
Here's the rest of your daily activities. Can you make
Okay.
them fit?
Let's see here.
Can you shake it up a bit? Oh yeah. Yeah. Nice. Oh, I think we can that. All right. And while we're
Well,
over the brim.
Yeah, it's still over.
Yeah. So check this out.
But what about all these? This is me brushing my teeth and showering and getting a haircut and checking blogs and vlogs.
Yeah, but those things are all in here. You have your hygiene and you have your Snapchat and you have all those things in here. It's just they're not taking up the whole space anymore. You're not responding to every text immediately,
Right.
right? It's just at the end of the week, what are you going to regret not having?
The big rocks.
Right. You don't want to sacrifice your family for your Snapchat.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just prioritizing the big things instead of the little things.
Exactly.
That I'm already doing, but just not in an abundance.
So what are the big things in your life?
Yeah. And which one do you want in your bowl?
Prioritize. First things first.
First things first.
Yeah, love that. So that's actually habit number 3, everybody. So putting first things first. And again, we teach our kids that. I love that whole big rock jelly bean kind of idea. Tamara, welcome. Great to have you. What are you thinking, parents, as you see that? What resonated with you?
And please feel free to comment in the chat if you are unable to come off of the mute. So you can place your comments in the chat and I will read them as well. Thank you.
Excellent. So every time I see that, I wonder, what are those little things that I can get rid of? And I call it selective abandonment. What can I selectively abandon from my life that either is not healthy or that takes me away from my top priorities? Any thoughts on that? Put it in the chat or feel free to come off. It's great to see you, Tamara. I'd love to have anybody talk. What are those little things that we can get rid of? Anybody? All right, Miss Simmons, I'm going to pick on you a little bit now.
Okay, sure. Yeah. I was thinking, and honestly, sometimes for me, my little things can be worrying about the unknown, worrying about getting ready for another school year and making sure that my children have everything that they need. And just for thinking about, I have a mom that is getting older and wanting to make sure I'm there to support her properly, making sure that I put time in for my husband and, our marriage and career goals and just juggling all of those things sometimes. But it's just those little things that sometimes we neglect that really do matter as well. And so funny, on the picture, I see exercise in the bottom of one of those. And yes, that's one of the things that I keep saying. I've just got to be more consistent and diligent about making sure that I add that in.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
really intentionality. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing. Convicted me too.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm really good at it, depending on my schedule, but it shouldn't be that way, right? If that's important for my health, then that should be the first thing I put on my calendar, or my family should be the first thing. I think we have something in the chat.
We do. So Tara said you can include me time as a big rock if you change or eliminate a handful of little things or
Yes.
have someone help with the little things. That's so true.
Absolutely. And I think I talked to you friends at a different meeting, maybe the first meeting, about my daughter. She's 35, and she and her husband have a date night every week.
Mhm.
And they have 2 little kids under the age of 3. How do they do it? They plan in advance. They have a babysitter. They have a backup babysitter, and they put it on their calendar, and they stay sacred. So think about the sacredness of your calendar, because you're worth it, right? So take a look at these pictures. I love this. All right. I love how, this picture of, gosh, are our priorities overflowing? Is that a good thing? No, because they're coming out of our lives. And sometimes people even give up their vacations. And I'll be honest, it's hard for me to disconnect from work. I even worked a little bit during my vacation. And let's face it, friends, with our phones and our emails, I mean, our phone is a living, breathing computer, right? So work is right here. So we have to be very intentional about disconnecting. Agree? And set up our colleagues for success. This is who you can call when I'm not here. Only text me in emergency. Put those away messages on, right? Any other thoughts? Just an idea right here on this slide. Some of those big rocks that we might want to put on our calendar if they're important to us. Again, those family meals. I'm really looking forward to getting back to that. That was something during COVID that we did more regularly, even with my grown children who live in Jacksonville. I miss that already. I don't miss that lockdown time, but I miss those family meals. So that's one of my priorities. One-on-one time with your kids. Gosh, that seems so important. And again, I can look back and wish I did more of it. Again, it's planning. This habit is all about planning. Any thoughts, parents?
My big rocks is spending time with my daughter, but we do a lot of fun things around the house, aggravating one another. So that's our, she threw something at me the other day, so I had dropped some ice when I was getting some. So I ran in right behind her and put the ice in her clothes. So, and like we were saying, we were telling the doctor, we do run around the house a lot and spend a lot of time one-on-one. Even I'd say, come on, sit on my lap. We do a lot of that. The big rocks, my big rocks is basically my husband and I, we do have a date night every week. And I also, like I said, we also have dinner time with one another once a week. We go out. So that means I go out at least twice during a week. And my other big things is my job. And then also I'm in school. So those are my big things. So I feel that the little things is probably trying to put exercise back into my life. I don't know if I consider that a big rock, but I'm gonna give it a small rock because that's not a big priority at this time. And but I do try to spend time with my husband and my daughter, and I do spend a lot of time studying during the year. So hopefully after school is over, I can do more time with my family.
It sounds like you're such a busy person. I remember you talking about your schedule, and yet you found this way to balance it. In my mind, I'm thinking, I mean, I'm sure you don't feel balanced all the time, but you have that date night, you have that time, those family dinners. And I think you're an inspiration for many of us who haven't figured that out yet. And one of the things I wish I'd done, and even now, is to let things go in the house sometimes. The dishes don't always have to be done like immediately, or maybe, I don't have to vacuum because I see one little piece of paper. I mean, there's some things we get caught up in that at the end of the day don't even matter. So anyway, I hope you'll take this idea of big rocks and consider it, and consider that selective abandonment. Again, you might be spending time in places that don't matter, right? So take a look at this slide, everybody. This is really, again, talking to us about one-on-one time with our kids. And when you were talking, Miss Davis Walker, about the ice with your daughter, I thought, those are really fun memories. I don't remember like big family vacations. Maybe we took some when I was little. I don't think we went to Disney World or anything, but what I remember are just those special conversations with my dad, or one-on-one time with my mom on Friday nights. Sometimes she would take me to McDonald's and we'd go sit by a lake and eat a fillet of fish. This was like in the 70s when it first started, when McDonald's first started. It was kind of a big deal. But I just remember those little things that were so important. It wasn't about a trip to Disney World. So thanks for reminding us about those things that are so important. I appreciate that. So we've talked about this already, regular family meals. And gosh, guys, we don't have to cook. There's takeout. In fact, I know Papa John's phone number by heart in Jacksonville, Florida. So again, we put pressure on ourselves. Nobody needs a 5-course meal, unless you enjoy that, unless you enjoy doing that. I know I don't. But let's take a look at what research says about family meals. All right. These look like happy people there on the slide, but take a look at the left-hand side. I'm really intrigued by that third bullet. You're telling me, research, that family dinners can impact risky behavior. Woo! Come on, that's big right there, right? Better grades? Thoughts, comments? I think I'm going to call Papa John's more often, right? This is your chance to sit and really connect with the people that you love the most. Isn't it funny how sometimes the people we love the most are the last on our priority list? Maybe not intentionally, but again, we get caught up in what we call the whirlwind. Sometimes too, we'll have those family dinners, or we'll have that one-on-one, and we won't even know, like, how do we start a conversation? Because as a parent, we often, we kind of revert to those closed questions. What'd you do in school today? And what do we get? Nothing. Yes, I've sent you all day for 180 days and you've done nothing. Right? So it's really important that we open up conversation with big open-ended questions. Tell me more about that. What was the best part of your day? What was the lowest part of your day? Help me understand the new math because I'm not real good at that, right? So think about that, the questions that we use. Again, a strategy for you as parents, keep them very open-ended, not yes or no. Did you like school? No. Did you like your lunch? No, right? Keep it very open and even let them lead the conversation, right? Then research talks about family time and traditions. And traditions are so important. And I know I've passed down some traditions to my kiddos. Let's talk about that for a minute. What traditions have you put into place that you would like to see continue? We're really talking about legacy, right? And they can be simple. I have a simple tradition with my family. We make lasagna on Christmas Eve and we watch the Santa Claus movie, the one with Tim Allen. I don't know why. It started when they were kids, and now my kids are in their 30s, but we still do it. And even if they're not in my house, they're doing it with their kids. It's lasagna night and the Tim Allen Santa Claus movie. So what traditions do you have? Who would like to share?
So I'll share out, and hopefully someone else will piggyback behind me. One of the things, or I'll share out too, just on a daily basis, for the most part, at least 5 out of the 7 days a week, we sit down and have dinner together. And my 3-year-old son, and I'm assuming it's because he's heard us saying this. So one day he was sitting at the table and he says, "Mommy, how was your day?"
Oh.
And then I said, oh, it was good. And then I said, well, how was your day? And he said, well, it was good. So now that's like our running joke. As soon as we sit down, we ask everyone around the table, how was your day? And, just to kind of break the ice. And something that we do as far as a holiday tradition, every Christmas morning, we wake up super, super early, put on our matching PJs. And the rule is we have to keep them on the entire day. So we never leave our house on Christmas. Usually that's the day that we just sit back and enjoy each other, watch a movie, dance. So those are two of the traditions that my family has established. And we've been doing that since I was a little girl. So it was something that my mom passed over to me, and now I'm passing it on to my children.
I love that. I love that. That's such meaningful time, right? I think I'm going to take that idea, by the way, Ms. Simmons. I love that Christmas Day idea. But, I think the importance isn't really the tradition itself. It's just that we have them. We have these things that keep us connected as a family. And it helps us remember who we are together, kind of what our purpose is, and what's important to us. And what you're saying with pajamas and staying home all day is that we as a family unit love each other and we want to spend this important day together. Right? So it's really a messaging piece, a communication piece, not necessarily the tradition itself. So I just love that. Anybody else want to share their traditions? If you want to put it in the chat over the next couple of minutes, feel free. We'd love to hear your family traditions. All right. So let's take a look at this quote. Wow, this is getting deeper, friends. Healing relationships. Traditions can heal relationships. And there's those words, positive identity. Who are we? Oh, we're the family who has lasagna on Christmas Eve. We're the family that doesn't go anywhere. No, we stay together on Christmas Day. Whatever that is, right? Whatever the tradition is, or Friday night pizza, whatever that is. Just all these things have to do with food. Anyway, food's important. Food's important. It does bring us together, doesn't it? So here's some other family traditions. Family meal. We talked about conversation starters, right? And, I would say take this thought to your family and ask this question. Hey guys, what are our traditions? Do we have any? No, we don't. Wait a second. Maybe we do. Yeah. You know how we barbecue on Memorial Day and we always have ribs? Yeah, we always have ribs on. Why do we do that? Why do we always have hot dogs on 4th of July? So start thinking, what are our traditions? And if you don't have any as a family, let the kids help you. Let them help you build some. How does that sound, friends? Traditions are important. So as we kind of end this thought around prioritization, let's take a look at this quote. Man, as parents, we're so torn. And it really, by the way, thank you for being here today. I mean, in the next 31 minutes, I hope we'll get some great strategies, but just for you to take the time from your busy day to be here says so much about you. All right, we're going to keep going and we're going to talk about habit 4. Woo, and we are going to talk about the emotional bank account. Are you ready? This is going to get deep. All right, emotional bank account. So thinking win-win, habit 4 is around getting along with people. It's an attitude. All right. If you're taking notes, write down the word attitude. Let me tell you more about this. This is about pouring into people and into those people who you love the most, because we take the most withdrawals from the people that we love the most. So the emotional bank account is a metaphor, right? It's how we pour into people emotionally, right? So what we need to do is think about what is the currency of the people that we love. So we'll just take an example here. Ms. Simmons, I'm going to use you and we're going to pretend that you're my daughter. Well, you might have the currency of affirmation. So if I know you well, and I hope I do as your mom, I'm going to know that what really drives you are words of affirmation from me. Now, if I'm disingenuous, that's not going to work out because you're going to know right away that I'm being disingenuous. But if my words of affirmation are true, authentic, and they connect to you, then I've built up this deposit within you that's going to do this, friends, build trust. The point of the emotional bank account is to build trust between two people. Now, the next day, Miss Simmons, you might not clean your room when I've asked you 14 times. So I might get pretty ticked off. And, I've had a hard day at work and I've asked you 14 times and I've had it and I'm trying to make dinner and I might really snap at you. Well, you know what? I have built up your emotional bank account over the past year so much that our trust will stay high. That part of our relationship or that few minutes where I'm just like, Miss Simmons, your room's a hot mess, I'm mad at you, will not impact our overall trust. Now, if I take too many withdrawals, right, and I don't build you up, our trust can come down. Does that make sense, everybody? But the key is that I have to know your currency. As a teacher, and I taught middle school most of my years, I knew very clearly what the currency was. There were some kiddos, most of them, who didn't want to be complimented out loud. I mean, come on, that's middle school age anyway. Middle schoolers don't want you to say, great job, you're my favorite. Everybody, look at Billy, he's such a great speller. Okay, they hate that, most of them. Although I knew who did and I knew who didn't want that. So I would understand most kids wanted quiet praise. Or some kids wanted job opportunities. The affirmations didn't matter. They wanted to be empowered. And it takes time to figure out the currency of our families. But again, it's a great meeting topic. If you're having a family meeting, ask them, what is it that's important to you? Now, you may have one of your kids say, money. That's my currency, money. But this isn't about money. It's about relationships. I'd love to hear from you. What do you think about this emotional bank account idea?
It reminded me of what we talked about our first week, which is learning our family's love language. And I think that's a great way to start with this emotional bank account. So I would definitely recommend, if you have the time and you can find it right online, doing the love language survey to find out, what is the best way to communicate. And because our children can be so different, I know mine are, one, hers is all about quality time, spending that time together. And another daughter, she is all about gifts. She loves being gifted. And my son, I think right now he's still pretty young, but it's definitely the words of affirmation. Like he loves hearing, way to go, good job, I'm so proud of you. So it's really just learning the way to make those deposits into your family's life. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, that's great. I love that you can go to the love languages online. And if you have a significant other in your life or in your home, it's a great piece too, as far as that adult relationship goes. I have a wonderful husband, and yet I don't really need flowers and great restaurants and stuff and gifts. I don't do jewelry. What I really want is for him to load the dishwasher. You know what I mean? That's what I need, friends. I need him to vacuum when he sees something on the floor and take the garbage out without me asking. And after 35 years of marriage, I had to give him a little time and train him up a little bit. But I was really clear and concise around what my language was and what was important to me. So take a look at that, think it over, bring it into your family meeting. I think we have something in the chat, Miss Simmons.
We do. Tamara said, I noticed when my daughter, I noticed with my daughter, if I compliment one, I must compliment the other, or they would feel left out. That is so true. That is so true.
Great. That is so great. And, to know that, just to have that understanding, because maybe that's the love language or the currency of both of them, right? That those affirmations are really important.
That's right.
Yes. Anybody else?
I was thinking about my two girls, and one is very independent, I'm sorry. And one is very, don't show a lot of emotions. And so I was just thinking about this bank account of emotions is really an opportunity for the one that does not show the emotions to be able to have an avenue, to have some place that, we could dialogue about her emotions. And I think this is a great idea.
Yes, Dr. Brim, thank you. And thanks for being here with us today. We're so happy to have you. The other thing I want to go back to, you made me think of, is that idea of quality time. And maybe it's that quality time of doing something together. My youngest daughter sounds like one of your children, Dr. Brim, in that she keeps a lot of things inside. And so the best way for us to communicate is when we're doing something, whether it's working on something together, or I'm driving and she's sitting, we're not looking directly at each other, having a conversation, we're working on something together. And that's when I can really get her to open up. So not only the currency, but the context, right? You might need to work side by side with your child and do something together so that it's more comfortable for them, right? So thank you for bringing that up, that context piece. And I put here on the slide, you can see some of these ideas around withdrawals and deposits. So let's take a look at this. Sometimes our deposit is just keeping promises. Again, as busy parents, it's tough sometimes. And sometimes, you know what, we make a promise and things will come up and we have to back out of it. And that's where the emotional bank account, when it's high, is really important, because the kids, your beautiful children, will understand if that happens occasionally. If your trust is low, and we continue to make withdrawals in that area, it can really impact our relationship in a negative way. What other thoughts do you have about this slide? Anybody? Oh, gossiping. Take a look at that left-hand side. Wow. Yikes. Embarrassed to say that I've probably done that in front of my children.
And it's so important for us to remember that, we're always modeling behaviors to our children, whether we're doing it, purposefully, or if they're just there to witness it. So, if we want to make sure that our children are honest, then we have to make sure that we're being an honest example for them. So I love it.
I do too, Ms. Simmons. There's a statement that says children learn what they live.
That's right.
It's that whole cyclical thing, right? And so even sometimes I'll look in the mirror and I'll say, oh my goodness, I look just like my mother. Or I'll say, oh my goodness, I'm acting just like my dad.
Right.
And really, Dr. Covey, and that could be good or bad, but Dr. Covey says we are imprinted with the behaviors of our parents by age 11. I think I mentioned this at our last session, imprinted. And those people who have left a legacy with us, those people who are the most important to us, are typically the people that don't have those negative characteristics on the left-hand side. And so just real quick, I'll give you a quick example. My dad was one who never said a mean or negative word about anyone. And he had very strong spiritual beliefs, strong political beliefs, and yet somehow, I don't know how he did it, he never said a negative word about anybody who was in politics, who our president was, other people. And it's like, wow, how do I become more like him? Well, there's the right-hand side there. Being loyal to the absent would be one way. And you know what, friends, take this chart, take a picture of it. If you have your phone, take it into your family meeting. Talk about it again, not to be evaluative, but hey, where are we? Let's help support, to be supportive. How can we support each other? Or hey guys, as a family this week, let's really focus on number 2. Let's be honest no matter what this week, even if it's painful, all right? Or how about this week we just focus on forgiveness, because I know we'll mess up. So really take this into your family meetings, take it into your family so that you can be that person who leaves that beautiful legacy. Sound good? I'm doing it. I'm doing it. All right. Credibility is so important. And I'm going to go ahead and show you this video. I think you'll love it. Hope you have your Kleenex. And again, Ms. Simmons, if you could give me a thumbs up, just letting me know that the audio is working okay. All right. Let's take a look.
How much for the two of us? $1 each, and free if the kid's under 5. How old is he? My son is 6. Here's $2. Mister, you could have told me he was younger. I wouldn't have known the difference. True. But he would have known.
Woo, love that. That credibility, right? Our kids are watching us. You said that so well, Miss Simmons. Anybody have any thoughts about that video? Hey, here's the thing. We're not going to be perfect parents. We're human beings. And, so this isn't about beating ourselves up. It's just about being honest, really. And, one of the things that I've learned in my life is to just say you're sorry. I mean, when we mess up, let's just share that with our kids. Hey, look, I messed up. I didn't put your game on my calendar and I should have, and I won't be there. And I still love you. And it's okay, right? Once again, that emotional bank account is filled up. So let's just look at this for a minute or two. Love to see, let's take a little quiz, how we do here. Let's take our ending quiz. All right, if someone says to you, I'm here to help you clean your room, is that a withdrawal or deposit? Actually, let's think about it in this term. You're saying this to your child. Okay, so Miss Davis Walker, will you be our quiz taker? Let's see how you do. Are you brave? Okay, come off mute. We get you involved here. Let's see how you do.
Okay.
And you get a prize today. If you get everything right, you get to just jump off this call right at 5 o'clock. All right, so here we go. You're the mom. I'm your daughter. If you say, I'm here to help you clean your room, what is that? Withdraw, neutral, or deposit?
Deposit.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't even remember saying that to my kids. I don't think I ever said I'll help you. I said a lot of clean your room. Okay, so you're already a fabulous mom, Ms. Davis Walker. How about this one? What if you said to me, surprise, I'm taking you to a symphony concert tonight. Whoop, whoop.
Oh, that's a deposit.
Here's a tricky one. I don't like the
surprise.
symphony.
I'm taking you to a symphony concert tonight. Well, yeah, I can understand that when they may not like symphony. So, that could be a neutral.
Right. So I'm thinking that, hey, if I hated the symphony, which,
right.
It could
because
be
my daughter wouldn't want to go to the symphony.
Right. All right. Let's go with number 3. You're doing great. I made you some healthy vegetables for lunch.
That would be a withdrawal or neutral.
Again, knowing your child, right?
Yes.
Knowing what their currency is. And how about this one? I'll give you a big hug before you go.
I think that's a deposit.
Yeah. And I think what you did there is just what every wonderful parent does. You thought about your own child, right? And so you might have a child who's like, don't touch me. Don't be hugging me. So that would not be, but you were thinking of your own child. So I love what you did.
Well, that is
there.
my child.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I hug and I play with her anyway.
That's right. You're going to hug me.
Yes, I hug. She said, oh, I don't want to be hugged, but I just hug and I kiss no matter what.
That's awesome. Well, I think your daughter's very blessed to have you. So as we think win-win, thank you for that. Let's take a look at this quote here. Habit 4, thinking win-win. How can we work together, really know our family members well and make deposits? We're just going to keep rolling because you know what? I don't know if I told you this. This is actually about a 2-day workshop. We could probably do it in one. So you're getting really a 20,000 foot view. I'm going to show you, this is probably our last video for our time together, but it's so powerful. So listen to this. This is a story about Dr. Stephen Covey. Again, he's the author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and his brother, John, and his wife wrote the Highly Effective Families piece, which is what we're using these 3 sessions. So anyway, I'm so excited about this, but this is a true story. And what Dr. Covey did in this video is he made a contract with his son to do some chores, and he had to really step back and use wisdom to teach his child to be responsible. So we're going to take a look at this great video called Green and Clean. Take some notes because it's amazing. All right, are you ready, friends? Whew. I think we'll all see ourselves in this video at one time or another as parents. Here we go. Again, Miss Simmons, need your thumb up. Make sure we're good to go. The Florida storms are coming through, so I want to make sure we're okay. Here we go.
My little son agreed in a family meeting to take care of the yard.
I will, Dad.
Son, your job is green and clean. Let me show you what green looks like, son. Let's go over to our neighbor's house. That's the color we're after, son. Clean means, let's clean up half of it. Now notice that compared to that. That's green and clean, son. Your job is green and clean. Now, son, how you do that is up to you. I'd tell you how I do it if you want.
How'd you do it, Dad?
I turn on the sprinklers. But you may want to use buckets or hose or spit all day long. All we care about is what, son?
Green and clean.
What's green look like? Good. What's clean? Good. It's your job, son. Guess who your boss is, son?
Who?
You boss yourself. Guess who your helper is?
Who?
I am. You boss me.
I do?
If I ever have any time you need help, you just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And guess who judges you, son? That's right, you judge yourself. How do you think you judge yourself, son?
Green and clean.
What's green now? What's clean now? Good. Is that a deal, son? You think about it for a day or two. Saturday. How do you feel, son?
I'll do it.
Do what?
Green and clean.
How?
It's up to me.
Who's your boss?
I boss myself.
Who judges you?
I judge myself.
How do you judge yourself?
Green and clean.
What's green? Good. Clean? Good. Who's your helper?
You are if you have time.
What if I don't have time?
I gotta do green and clean.
Is that a deal, son?
Deal.
Deal was made. You did nothing. Nothing all that Saturday. All that Sunday. Monday. It's Tuesday morning. Going to work. Hot. Summer day. Burning up. Yellowing. Neighbor's yard. Green and clean. Manicured. Garbage strewn right down the side lawn from a Saturday night barbecue. Falling out the bottom of the sack. 3 feet from my car. I could rationalize a little away Saturday and Sunday. But Monday, this is inexcusable. I was ready to move to win-lose. Now, son, you get out there, you get over here, or I'm telling, but the moment you do, you kill effectiveness. You go for efficiency. Yeah, he'll clean that up. And what happens tomorrow when you're not there? Bite your tongue. Reaffirm your purpose. Raise boys, not grass. I'll see what it looks like tonight. Could hardly wait to get home. Driving, going around the corner, there where my yard was. Tuesday afternoon, more cluttered, more yellow than ever. My son across the street, playing ball. I was burning. We'd agree that we'd walk around the yard twice a week, and he'd show me how it's going. Hi, son. How you doing?
Just fine, Dad.
I was faking it totally. How's it going in the yard, son?
Just fine, Dad.
I bit my tongue. After dinner, why don't we walk around? You can show me how it's going. Before we got to the door, you could see his lip. By the time we got out to the front yard, just open bawling.
So hard.
I mean, what was hard? He hadn't done one single thing. I'll tell you what hard is moving up the level of initiative. You cannot hold people responsible for results if you supervise their methods. Anything you want me to do to help, son?
Would ya?
What was our agreement?
So you'd help me if you had time.
I've got time.
You do? I'll be right back.
Ran in the house, came out with 2 sacks. He handed me one, he took one. That's when he signed the win-win agreement. And he only asked for help a couple more times that entire summer. It's his job. It takes time to set up the agreement and to reaffirm it. The tendency is to backslide on it when you see mistakes. Keep believing in the people, holding them accountable in the way agreed.
Whew. I think we could spend about an hour analyzing that video, right? Love it. Green and clean, developing contracts, empowering our kids, releasing them, right? And still guiding and coaching. So talk to me. What are your thoughts?
I don't think that would have happened in my house growing up.
All right. Say more about that, Dr. Brim.
So I grew up with parents that once things were spoken, things were done.
Yes.
There was no negotiation. There was no coaching us to do what we were told.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so with that, if you think about it, then my motherhood had a similar response. What is being told is what I expect to be done. I don't even think now, I can see my daughter with her children agreeing to agree and support. I could see Miss Simmons doing that with her kids. But I think I'm so old school, it will really take some time for me to really, adapt to what I observed, although I thought it was a great method and a process. Yes.
You know what? I'm so glad you said that. That's how I grew up as well. In fact, my mom passed at 90 and I was even scared of her at 90. But, a healthy, respectful fear, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that I can relate to the video in that 2 of my 3 children would very much follow through. If I said it, there you go. I said it, it's done. That's it. And yet my 3rd one, who I adore, might need a little bit more, not negotiating, but a little more empowerment. At the end of the day, it was going to be done, right? Yet they needed a little more coaching. So I'm wondering if maybe it has to do more around our children's temperament and maybe who they are and maybe what they need, because our kids oftentimes need something different. In fact, I was different with each one of my kids. They tell me that now, by the way. They tell me the youngest one got away with a lot, but I think she just needed something different. What do you all think?
I have 2 children, one 26 and one will be 15 in a month. Actually, I call them twins, even though they're so much alike. And they have been the boss. I've allowed them to live their life without even saying anything to them. But anytime they need help, I'm always there. I raised my children differently from the way my parents raised myself and my siblings. Yeah, my mom was, okay, you need to do this now, not later. So when mom says do it, I was in there doing it, but not with my children. It was when they were ready to do it and they were awarded for what they completed. And I've never had to say much to my children. And they never asked for anything either. So it was like, okay, I just allowed them to grow. They never asked for nothing. I know my son, he would walk around with hole in his shoes and wouldn't say a word. So I raised them to be very independent. And with my daughter, I'm trying to push her to be a little more independent, but I do not boss her. She's pretty much her boss. And, just like outside of home, okay, I need you to go and sign yourself up for this. Just giving that encouragement to do a little bit more for herself, but she does a lot for herself. She buys her clothes. I don't buy her clothes. She buys her clothes. She takes care of her money. She saves her money. So I said, and my children are growing up, and I'm so proud of both of my children because they're so independent. I do not have to tell her to go do your homework. I do not have to tell her anything. And, the last two, we did encourage her, okay, if you make straight A's, we'll give you $100. Okay. That she made it twice in 2 semesters. I'm like, okay, now. So that, encouraging her to do better has made a difference, but she is the boss. And I don't really say much to my child at all. So I'm glad I raised my children differently from the way my parents raised myself and siblings.
Yeah. And, really, I think what we're saying is all of our kids are different. They're also different and they have different needs and different abilities and different strengths. And as we end today, thank you so much for sharing that. Let's take a look at this quote. We are the leaders of our household. And again, I wear my culture shirt so you know that you are the leader of the culture in your home. If your home is chaotic, which I'm sure it's not, but if it is, then you have the power. You're empowered to make change and to get your family on board with that change. If you need to do some things differently, go for it. You are the leader, right? You have the gifts and talents as parents. So there you go. Communicate the worth and potential of your family. And don't forget your own worth and potential as a household leader, right? But what we want our kids to know is how much we love them. How proud we are, like you said, Miss Davis Walker, of what they do when they do things well and they have great effort and they use their gifts and talents. And then when they don't, to support them and to love and nurture them, right? So really quickly, we didn't have time, but the other habits, habit 5 is around communication. Habit 6 is around synergizing. We talked a little bit about that, about coming together as a family. And habit 7, I've already bothered you about this, is taking care of yourselves. So as we end today, again, I encourage you to take a look at some of the 7 habits content. You can Google it, take a look at it online. You can also Google Leader in Me. So it'll take you and show you what we do in schools and how we work with the kids. And also, I think, Ms. Simmons, you mentioned the love language online test that you can take for free and your whole family could take it. But don't forget the strategies that we've talked about: family meetings, family dinners, traditions, talking to your kids, one-on-one dates, and prioritizing, making sure the most important things are written on your calendars. Do we have any thoughts as we end today? Anybody? Ms. Simmons, can you bring this home for us?
Absolutely. Betsy, this has been phenomenal. I am so grateful for you and all of the knowledge that you have given us. A lot of it was very insightful and it's just adding value. We can always tweak our methods and our ways of interacting with our families, and not only our families, but for ourselves. So this was very good. And as I told you earlier, I really look forward to a continued partnership throughout the school year as we continue to develop those relationships with our families. So everyone that joined us today, thank you so much. I am so excited that everyone that has taken part in this event, whether you joined once, twice, or all 3 times, you will receive the book, the participant guide, and a calendar, all with your registration. So please look in the near future to receive an email so that we can get all those items to you in a timely manner. Thank you so much. This will conclude our final part of this series. However, please continue to check in with pcsb.org. We will have a variety of webinars and workshops throughout the school year that are coming through the Office of Strategic Partnerships. So to learn more, you can go to pcsb.org and click on the Get Engaged link, and you will find a lot of materials there that are available to you that are being brought to you by the Office of Strategic Partnerships. So on that note, we're 1 minute over. Again, thank you so much, Ms. Weirda. And to all of you, thank you. Stay safe and have a fabulous afternoon.
Thanks, everybody. Love your kids. Love yourselves.
Thank you.